All right, guys. All right. All right. Welcome to Frank Teaches DevOps. Yeah, man. My lovely viewers. My lovely viewers. It's been a while that we we did something reasonable, right? We've left the space for quite some time. And maybe due to the reason that um we've been very busy, taking care of other engagements um on the background, right? But however, we are back. We are back, guys. We are back with back to back banger. Back to back banger. And before we go ahead, if you've not subscribed to our channel, please do that right now. Do that right now. Do that right now. You need to subscribe to our channel. Always put on the notification bell and yeah, share our channel within your network. Show them love. What you are benefiting, also share it with your loved ones within your network, right? So before we also go ahead, I want to wish us a very compliment of the season, a very happy Xmas in advance, and compliments of the season. Yep. So without further ado, let us get started. So my lovely viewers. So today we will be looking at database replication on MySQL. All right. So I've been working lately on data replication, moving of data from on-premise to the cloud, from cloud back to on-premise, and also moving data right between on-premise to on-premise. All right, virtual instances, physical servers that runs within data centers and all of that. And I thought it's necessary that I bring my experience, what I've been going through in production to my lovely fans. Let me share what I've encountered for the past few weeks or thereabouts. Yeah, so we'll be looking at how to replicate data. All right, replicate data between a master server. All right, it could be your master or primary database to a replica database or your slave database. All right, so um now, before I go ahead talking about the entire architecture, let me first of all talk about what is replication and what does replication enable us to do. So replication, as the name implies, replicates, you're copying, all right? You're copying or duplicating, all right? So replication enables data, all right, to be copied from one MySQL database server. So from one MySQL database server, which is termed as the source, known as a source server, to one or more MySQL database servers. All right, known. Let me break this down, guys. Known as what? As replica, repli, replicas. All right, great. So this is what replication enables us to do. All right, so great. So let me just give us the architecture. Okay, the architecture of primary master slave replication. So you always get things like this as the primary. What is called the primary DB, right? The primary DB, which bears the name of uh we bears the name of, we would say, master, right? A master server, right? Great. Let me pull this down a bit. Then we now have, great. We now have a replica, a repli, a replica DB that bears the name slave server. Right. So here's the idea. All right. So we're going to be performing a master to slave replication, a master to slave replication. So at the end of the day, when all of this is set up, right, we start seeing things like data moving from the primary DB, right, into what, the replica DB, right? So this will now we have something like data data replication, right? So everything that is in here is being what, mirrored, is being copied in real time, right, into everything that will be in here. Meaning that my entire databases, all right, is copied into this machine. All right, it's copied into what, this machine. So I have a replica, right? I have a copy of this database in what, in this database, all right? So great. So great. So now, somewhere here we have the application. So this is just the architecture. So we have the application. So here's our application. So by default, what the application do is the application performs a read, all right, and a write, right? So this guy performs a read and write, right? So this guy writes. So we have a read and write, a read, right, and a write. So this is what's happening here, all right? There is a read and write of data between the application and the what, the primary DB. So this application is writing into what, the primary DB, okay, and is writing into, so the DB is reading from, all right. So it's a read and write. So is this is guy is writing into. So I think this should be the opposite. This should be the opposites or thereabouts. Okay, but all we know is this process performs what, a read and write, right? Performs a read and write. Then the application only does what we call the read. Now, the data from this application has been written into the database, and that data is now replicated into what, the replica DB. Here's the flow. Let me use a different color, different color, right? So now, now this data, the application data moves this way from here, all right? It writes into what, the primary DB, and in turn, let me give it a color. Let me give it uh green. That's okay, all right. Then in turn, all right, that data in the primary DB is being replicated, all right. It's being replicated into what, the replica. It's being replicated into what, the replica DB. All right. Now, this application, if this application wants to query those data in the replica DB, it does a read. It only does a read only, right? It cannot write into the database, all right? It's only meant, it cannot write into the replica DB. It's only meant to do a write in what, the primary DB, which in turn do a replica into what, the replica DB. So what the application does is the application can only read from the replica DB. I don't know if that makes sense, right? So this is the workflow of a master to slave data replication on MySQL. Master to slave data replication on MySQL. How do I capture this? Database replication on MySQL. Okay, let me put it. Let me say, um, master master to slave database replication on my what, on my SQL. That makes sense. That makes sense. So without further ado, guys, let's get started. So this is just the flow. That's the structure. It's just straightforward. And note one important thing I will tell us. So this is specifically for MySQL version 8 and above, 8.0 and above. 8.0 and above. So this method I'm going to be using is specifically applicable to MySQL version 8 and above. So anything below MySQL version 8, this method might not work. All right, it might not work because from MySQL version 8 there has been a lot of modifications from Oracle, right? They've made a lot of improvements, right? There has been a lot of improvements, right? Which I wouldn't want to delve into such improvements because the improvement has been very enormous and massive, guys. All right, so great. So let's get started. So what I'll do now is I'm going to be creating two instances, right? So I'll be using my instances on AWS. So this is EC2 instance, EC2 instance 1, and let me give this a different color. EC2 instance 2. All right. So this will be, right? So this will be my master, and this will be my slave, right? Now on this master instance, I'm going to do the following. All right, I'm going to set up the following. So first thing first, I'll be installing what, my SQL server. So I have my instance here, which I've already labeled master and slave. All right, so let's connect, copy, come here. So this will be for the master. So I'm using Ubuntu 22.04. All right, so sudo, I love labeling my machines so that I know this is the master. Then let's reboot that. So let me do similar thing with the slave. Let's do similar thing with the slave, and slave machine, connect, copy, come to my terminal, paste that, and bam. Okay, so sudo vim etc home host name, sorry. So I'll call this slave. All right, great. So sudo reboot. Good. So now let's go to the server. Let's connect back to the master. So you can see we now have our host name as master. So sudo dash this. Now I need to install my SQL, right? So I'll say apt update. Apt updates. Let's do similar thing on the slave. Slave is still coming up. Slave is still coming up. Slave is up. Sudo apt update. Good. All right. So it takes some time. Updating the repository takes some time. All right, good. Take some time. Okay. All right. So I think we are done. Now the next step is step 2. Sorry, step 1. Install it now. Install MySQL server. All right. So here we go. We have it. MySQL server is getting installed. Right. So we're installing MySQL server. The next step will be edit the MySQL config file on, this is wrong, MySQL slash mysql.conf.g slash mysqld.cnf, something like that, and make the following changes, right? So are we done? It's still installing, 91% gone. All right. So great. So let's check the status of MySQL. So say system CTL status MySQL, and the service is up and running. Great. So now we need to edit this file and make the following changes. Binding address, log underscore bin, server ID. Let's go there. So vim etc mysql dot conf dot d and mysql d dot cnf. All right. So now changes that we need to make. First is a binding address, which we have here. So this binding address is pointing to the local address. So it's either we assign the binding address to the replica server as we have here, all right? It's either we assign the binding address to this replica server, or we can open it to the world, make it global. 0.0.0.0, right? They also need to look out for the server ID. So let me search for server dash ID. So there it is. So there we have it. So this is the server ID. So server ID has to be one because of the it is the master server. Then the log underscore bin, we need to save our what's it called? Bin logs in this location. var log mysql, mysql dash bin dot log. All right. So these are the three changes we need to make within the server. So I'll escape this and I will save and quit. Now let's restart MySQL. Restart MySQL to make sure that everything is good. Everything is good. Now we need to now log in. So now we made these changes. Step 3, log in and issue the following command to check the master status. All right. Log in to the MySQL DB as the root user and issue the following command. The following command is show master status / capital G semicolon. Let's do that. So I'll go in here. Take note, the MySQL password for root is still empty. All right. So we hit enter, we are in. All right. So now say what? Show master status / G, then semicolon. So now we need this information dearly. This information is very needed. The two information that we need here is the file and the position of the file. The position of this binary file is on 157. All right. Make sure we shall come back here. Just initially, we're just showing us this information, right? So after this, we can now go ahead to create a replication user. All right. Now, step 4, create a replication what? A replica user. A replication what? User. All right. Now the command is create user, then the username. Let me call it a repel. Create user repel at, all right. I want this user to have remote access. All right. Then set the password identified by, I can say secrets. All right. Semicolon. All right. So let's create that user. So I'll come over here. I'll say what? Create user repel at percentage identified by secret, the password of the user. All right, semicolon. This user has been created. So if I now say select user from mysql.user, so this will show me the MySQL user table. All right, so this is the user table, and this is the user REPL. Repel REPL is the replication user that we just what created. Now we need to grant this replication user permission. All right. So step 5, okay, creates and grants, okay, create a replication user and grants the user replication role, right? So we've created a user. Now we need to grant the user. Grants this role replication slave on all databases. All right, this guy should have access to all the what was happening? Okay, it's not entering. All right. Okay. So the repel user, repel, all right. The repel user at that percentage. Good. Yeah, good. So let's go there and do that. So I'll say what? Grant what? Grant replication sleeve, all right, on everything we have, all databases and all tables, all right. So the repel user, percentage, and bam, created. So we've done that. All right, now let's now show the master status one more time, one last time. So show master status /g semicolon. So you can see the position of this file has increased from 157 to what, to 689. So this position will keep increasing. All right, it will keep what, increasing. So let's log in with that user. Exit. So let me log in with that user called repel. Repel, the password is secret. So I'm logging the password now. So I can say show grants. Show grants. So I want to see everything, every what's it called, every role that this user has. Right. This user just have what, replication sleeve on everything. So this is his permission that he has. Right. The only permission that he has. So we are good, guys. All right. So we are good. So at this stage, we have comfortably set up the entire master. So this is everything we need to do on the master side. All right. So now go to the slave side. So this is the master configuration, right? So great. So the slave configuration, we have something very similar. Let me copy this. On the slave side, we have something similar, but we just need to make some changes. So on the slave, we also need to install MySQL. Let's go there. So install MySQL on the slave. Here's the slave, right? So sudo -i. So MySQL, I'll say apt install MySQL server y. All right. So install MySQL on the slave. Now, after installing MySQL, we also walk through the entire process of editing this file and making the following changes. But this time around, our server ID will be what? By 2. So depending on how many replicas I have, if I decide to add another replica, meaning that I have 2 replicas in this setup, the next ID will be 3, because the first server ID has been assigned to the master. The second ID, which is 2, will be assigned to the first replica. Then the third ID will be assigned to the second replica, and so on and so forth, right? But in this context, we are giving the second ID, because since we have only just one replica, second ID towards the first replica. So we've installed what? MySQL. So let's check the status. Systemctl status MySQL. So this guy is up and running, right? Great. So let's go and edit the file. Systemctl, etc mysql, mysql.conf.d, the mysql d.cnf, all right? So quick one, we need to check for the binding address. So come here, change the binding address to be global. All right. Great. Then also look for server grades, server ID. We have a server ID. Remove that. Also have the log bin. Remove that. So server ID will have to be 2. ID number 2. We are good, guys. Escape, save, and quit. Now restart your what? MySQL service. Restarted. All right. Restarted. Good. Now step 3. Okay, log into MySQL as the root user and issue the following command. All right. So in this context now, we'll just log in and we are going to now set up the master information. So log into MySQL as a root user and and update the master information as follows. All right. The master info as follows, which is the connection string. So what we'll do now is we'll now say change change replication source. So we need to define the replication source, all right? So I'll come down to source underscore host. So source underscore host will be the master private or public IP, right? In this case, since these instances are in the same subnet, they can talk to each other via their what? Private IP. So let's check that quickly. Let's check that quickly. So ifconfig, I don't have it on the system. So let me install it. So app install nettools. I'll do that on the server. Apt install net tools. Right. So let's check it's done. All right. So this is the private IP of the replica server. So I want to ping. So I can ping private IPs that, okay, I'm doing that now. So I can reach the private IP from the server. All right. I can reach the replica private IP from the server. I'll do the same thing, similar thing. All right. So copy this, come to the replica and ping yes. So they can both talk to each other back and forth. So it means that I can update source IP to be what? The private IP, right? Of the server. So the private IP of the server is 1.133. All right. So I'll paste it there. Oh, sorry, since window is small. To be 10.0.1.133. That's good. All right. Now, comma, there has to be a comma. All right. So come down. The next one is source underscore log underscore file is equal to this file that we saw here. All right. This file, when we did this command, so let's log back into MySQL root. All right. When we do this command, show master status /g. All right. Now this command to solve this file. Right. So the name of this file. So copy this file and put it here. Right. So that file will be MySQL wherever MySQL dash bin dot 123451. All right. Comma. Then the next will be source underscore log underscore position. So this position will be the position of that file. The position of this file is what? 689. 689. I'll come over here and I'll give that position 689. Then finally we'll say source underscore SSL is equal to what? 1 semicolon. So this is all that we need to what? Update on the what? On what? On the replica. So I'll go there. So pick one. So this is my replica. So that's my replica. So I'll log into my SQL server. My SQL user is root and the password. There we go. So I'll make these changes. So I'll say what? All in caps. Change replication source to enter source underscore source underscore host is equal to 10.0.1.133, comma, source underscore host, okay, 133, comma, then source underscore log underscore file. So the log file is this file, which we have here. So, right, so this is a log file. So copy the file, all right, and you paste is equal to, right, you paste it there. So that's a log file, comma, enter. The next one will be source underscore log position, source underscore log position is equal to, so what's the current position? Let's run the status one more time. 689. So 689, 689, comma. All right. Then the last one is source underscore SSL, source underscore SSL underscore one. So starting from MySQL version 8, all right, for the replica to connect to the master, they require some set of certificates. They need to exchange certificates, so you need to enable SSL. So that's all. So I'll hit enter. We have some error. So let's look at where we have syntax error. So where else is that error? So where are we having that syntax error? Okay. So let's do something. Let me put this source host in a single quotes, in quotes. Put the source host in quotes. Still syntax error. Where is the syntax error coming from? Let's look at it one more time. You have check him out near this guy, near 10.0.1.133. So yeah, change replication source to change replication source to source underscore host. Let's check one more time. Let's check one more time. Log pause SSL change replication source. You have an error in your SQL syntax. Check your manual corresponds to version for the right syntax. So use name SSL. SSL. Oh, sorry. Sorry, guys. Apologies. Source underscore SSL is equal to 1. Sorry, guys. Apologies. All right. So this is good now. All right. So this is good. All right. So now we have connected to what? To the server. We've updated the master details. Log into the MySQL DB as a root user and update the master information as follows. So we've done this. Now this next step now is to start the replica user. All right. So step 4 says what? Start 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 the what? The slave. Start the slave and show slave status. All right. So we need to start the slave and show slave status. To start the slave, this command to start the slave will say start replica user. Replica user, remember, is what? Repel. Then the password of that user is, remember, it was what? Secret. Right? Semicolon. Secret. Now this to start the what? The slave, and to show the slave status. Show slave status. To show slave status, we'll say show replica status. Right? Semicolon. So let's go and do that quickly. So first we need to start what? The replica user. Right? So say what? Start replica user. The user is repel. All right. And the password to that user is what? Secret. Take note that this password has to match with what you have on your what? On your master. After that, let's show the status now. Show replica status. So backward semicolon. So if everything goes well, we should see some nice things. So now, how do we know that everything is set up? So now you can see at this juncture now, we've successfully implemented replication between the master and the slave. Why do we say so? Because These values has to be yes and yes. Replica IO running has to be, the value has to be yes. The replica SQL running, the value also has to be yes. If either of these values is either no, then it means that you have not successfully set up replication and it will not work. So I think we are good now. So let's now say show databases. We want to test replication now, all right? So this is the what? This is the slave. So I'll come to the master. On the master, I'll say show databases. So let me create a database. I'll say what? Create database. Let me call it students underscore records. Student records. I hit enter. Created. Now let's go to the slave. Let's see if this database has been replicated. So I'll say, well, show database. You can see automatically this database was what replicated instantly. Instantly. All right. Now let's go back to the master. So on the master end, I can now say, okay, let's insert into that data. So use student record, student underscore records. I'm switching to the database. Now create table, create table, student details. All right, before I do that, let's come here now. So let's say use that student record. So you remember the access for this guy is just to what? Is just to read. All right, you can't do anything. So show tables. So show tables record is empty. Table is empty, right? So let's now create table students this thing. Now I'll have different columns. I have the ID integer. I will have student name, all right, name, now name as voucher, all right, then city, I have city as voucher, 10, then let's just keep it simple, state, I have states voucher, all right, great. So I think semicolon, enter, this table has been created. So if I come here now and say um um show tables, can see now I now have the record. I have what? One table created. Let's now insert into that table. So if I say select asterisk from student underscore details, underscore details, there's nothing, it's empty. All right, so let's do that here now. Let's insert. So I'll say insert into who? Student underscore details. All right, so when you're starting ID, when you're starting name, when you're starting city, we're also inserting what? State. All right, then values are one. Name is Frank Legbosi. Then city is Lagos. All right, state is Rivers State. Right, there we go. Semicolon. Wow. Says name. Okay, did that too long for column name? All right, because we limited it to 10. We limited the size to be 10. Okay, let me just say I should have used 20. All right, let's just say that that too long for column states. For column states, okay, let me just say rivers. So we're good now. All right, we're good. So let's insert more records. All right, so let's say Jane, and this would be ID number 2. Then yeah, so we inserted 2 records. So if I say select asterisk from where? From student underscore details. I should have this on the server, right? So if I go on the slave, all right, I do the same thing. I should have this. So you can see everything I do on the master gets written into the slave. This way we have automatically what? Implemented data replication. So if I come back here and create more databases, so create database, let me call it rent. All right, rent created, create um school, create customer. So I've created additional three databases. So if I say show databases, we have customer, rent, and school. So I come to my slave server and say show databases. I should have customer, same thing, same records, customer, rent, and school. So this way, we have successfully implemented what we call data replication between a primary DB being the master and a replica DB being the slave. At this junction, guys, I want to bring this session to a close. And thank you very much. And I hope this session has been very, very informative. And see you in our next episode. Thank you and have a wonderful week ahead. Peace out.